The following program is a production of the Fairfax Network.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Wolf and pig in court today. Extra, extra.
Imagine the nerve of that BB Wolf suing Curly Pig.
But did you hear about Curly's recipe for poached wolf?
Yeah, I heard he's been out to get BB for a long time.
Come on! Everyone knows that Wolf is always up to no good.
They say Pig's attorney has lots of evidence.
I wonder what the jury will decide.
Oh, look! BB's brought a pillow.
How did they pick a jury for this case?
This case is gonna blow you away. You've all heard the story of the big bad wolf and the three little pigs? Well, now they're gonna have their day in court. And lucky you're on the jury. The case that we're about to hear is a civil case. Most of the time, when we think of someone being on trial, we think it's because they broke the law. But a civil case is different. Civil cases settle disputes between people who can't reach an agreement out of court. Usually, it involves someone being injured. They're called the plaintiff, and they're seeking damages from the person who injured them. That's the defendant. In a civil trial, the jury has to decide two things. One, if the defendant is liable or not liable. Liable meaning responsible for the injury. And two, if the defendant is liable, how much money should be awarded to the plaintiff? Oh, I think the judge is ready. Time for me to do my thing. I'm the bailiff, and no trial gets started until I say, all rise! The Circuit Court of Forced Edge is now in session, with the Honorable Judge Justin Fair presiding. The case of BB Wolf versus Curly Pig will now be heard.
Be seated. This is the case of Wolf versus Pig. The charges against Mr. Pig are for injury to Mr. Wolf by attempting to cook him. Now, are there any opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the facts of this case will show that last August, Mr. Pig did in fact attempt to cook my client. That he placed a steaming cauldron of boiling water in a spot that he was sure my client would appear. And furthermore, that his cookbook was found open to his recipe for poached wolf. Thank you.
Does the attorney for Curly Pig have an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the wolf charges are ridiculous. We will show that the cauldron was inside Mr. Pig's home, a home that Mr. Wolf was trying to forcibly enter. We will show that Mr. Wolf's actions are the latest in a long series of harassments against the Pig family, harassments that have included the eating of Mr. Pig's brothers, Larry and Moe. We will also show that Mr. Pig was merely protecting his home and his life. Thank you.
Very well. Plaintiff, call your first witness.
I call BB Wolf as my first witness.
Raise your right paw. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Please be seated.
Would you state your name for the court, please?
My name is Big B Wolf. Well, my friends just call me BB. That means big and beautiful wolf.
And where do you live, Mr. Wolf?
Oh, well, I've got a nice little colonial in the woods just outside the Forest Edge. You know, it's got a basketball net, a tree house. I've got a pretty nice CD player, a Nintendo 64, and a Sony PlayStation.
And what about a kitchen?
Oh, well, I eat out a lot, you might say.
Well, let's move on. Do you recall your whereabouts on the morning of last August 19th?
Yes, I do. Quite clearly, actually. I was stepping out for my usual morning stroll when I passed the house of my good pal Curly Pig. When I was admiring his house. It's quite well built, you know, and I thought I'd stop by and tell him just that. What a fine job he'd done in building that magnificent place of his. So I knocked on the door and called out his name, but there was no answer. So I knocked harder and called out louder, but still there was no answer. So I sat down on the front porch to wait. Well, I figured Curly had probably gone out shopping or something and would be back any minute. You see, I really did want to see my old buddy, and I don't get into that neighborhood all that often. And then it hit me. Well, Curly is a really sound sleeper. Well, I figured he was probably just sleeping in or something. Well, I thought that if I left and didn't wake him up, well, he'd be sorry he didn't see me. So I tried to think of a way I could get into the house. I thought and thought and thought, and then it came to me. I could go in through the chimney.
And so, did you?
Well, yes, and no. That is, I started to. I got almost all the way down when someone took the lid off of a boiling cauldron of hot water. Someone who wanted me to fall into the kettle.
Objection. The witness is speculating at my client's motives.
Objection sustained. Mr. Wolf, please keep your testimony to the facts only.
Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, the steam was so powerful that it just kind of whooshed me on up out of the chimney. But I took off like, oh, get out, and decided that Curly was no friend of mine.
Did you have any injuries?
Well, I lost a few hairs to my backside. Ooh. And I couldn't go to work for a few days. Oh, it was terrible. My medical bills and lost wages totaled $2,000.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wolf, you previously testified that you were on your usual morning stroll when you happened to cross Mr. Pig's home. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you further testified that you don't normally get into that part of the neighborhood. Isn't that true?
That is correct.
Mr. Wolf, you were specifically looking for Mr. Pig that morning, weren't you?
Yes, but...
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Wolf, you may step down. Counsel, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the plaintiff calls Mrs. C.C. Wolf.
Please raise your right paw. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Please be seated.
Would you please state your name for the court?
My name is C.C. Wolf. The C.C. stands for cute and cuddly.
And what is your relationship to Mr. B.B. Wolf?
I am BB's dear old mother.
Now, do you recall the events that took place on the day in question, last August 19th?
Oh yes, of course. That morning, as BB does every morning, he called his dear old mom to see how I was doing. BB is such a good boy. Did I ever tell you how he takes care of all the neighborhood animals? Why, there isn't a day that goes by that he doesn't bring home some stray animal, and he feeds it and takes care of it until it's ready to return to the forest. BB is such a kind and gentle animal.
Yes, I'm sure he is. Now, if you would kindly answer my previous question.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, BB told me that since it was such a beautiful morning, he was going to take a stroll, Perhaps by some of the new homes that were built by the edge of the forest. He said that they were finely built homes, and he was looking for decorating ideas for remodeling his den.
And what happened then?
Well, normally, BB comes to my house every evening for dinner at 6 o'clock, and when he did not show up, I was very concerned for him. I do not like him playing in the woods that late at night. You never know what kind of creatures are out there.
Did BB ever come to your house that evening?
Why, yes, he did, but it was very late, and he was very upset, and he was missing some fur from his backside. He told me that Curly Pig tried to cook him in a cauldron of boiling water. I could not believe it, for Curly and Phoebe were always the best of friends.
You say that Curly and BB were the best of friends?
Yes, they went to animal school together, and they used to play sports together. And Curly and his brothers were always over at our house. We have quite a lovely little mud puddle in our backyard that attracts many of the neighborhood animals. Yes, I would say that Curly and BB were the best of friends.
Thank you, Mrs. Wolf. I have no more questions for you.
Does defendant's counsel wish to cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Wolf, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Mrs. Wolf, you previously testified that BB took the animals of the forest into his house to care for them. Is that true?
Yes, that is correct.
And Mrs. Wolf, you also testified that BB released the animals back into the forest when he was done. Is that true?
Yes, that is also correct.
Come now, Mrs. Wolf. Did you ever actually see BB Wolf return the animals to the forest?
Well, no, not exactly, but they were no longer around the house, so I just figured that he returned them to the woods where he got them. He was always very good about returning things he had borrowed from others.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Plaintiff's counsel, any redirect?
No, Your Honor. The plaintiff rests.
Mrs. Wolf, you may step down.
Okay, that's the wolf side of the story. It includes some facts and some opinions. As jurors, it is up to you to separate what is fact and what is opinion. What someone believes or feels is not necessarily a fact. It's what they actually saw, did, or heard. That is fact, and you must decide this case based on the facts. Now Curly Pig gets to tell his side of the story, and the same rules about facts and opinions apply.
We will now hear defendant Curly Pig's evidence.
Your Honor, as my first witness, I will call Mr. Jack Smith.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. Smith, would you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Jack Smith.
What is your occupation?
I run the J. Smith Building Supply Company.
Mr. Smith, are you familiar with the Pig family?
Well, I got quite a few pigs among my customers. There's Miss Piggy, a Porky Pig, and some new customer, a Babe.
Let me be more specific. Are you familiar with the three little pigs, Larry, Moe, and Curly?
Ah, yes. Now there's a sad story for you.
Mr. Smith, when did you come to know of the three pigs?
Well, when their mother sent them out into the world to make their own ways, they each came to me for building supplies for each of their houses. Now the first brother, Larry, came to me and asked for a bundle of straw to build a house. I said, "Kid, this isn't going to give you the tire security." But he insisted on straw, so I sold him a bundle.
Mr. Smith, is this the type of straw that you sold to Mr. Curly Pig's brother, Larry?
Yes, that's the same type of straw.
Your Honor, I'd like to submit this straw into evidence as Pig's Exhibit A.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. The straw shall be entered into evidence as Pig's Exhibit A.
Mr. Smith, did that house get built?
Oh, it got built, all right. Didn't last long, though.
What do you mean by that?
Well, pretty much as soon as he got that house built, old BB over there, he's always up to no good. Why, it wasn't a week before he was over on the other side of the forest making trouble for Little Red Riding Hood and a poor old granny.
Objection! Your Honor, this testimony about Little Red Riding Hood is totally irrelevant to the case at hand.
Objection sustained. The jury will disregard that testimony. Proceed, Mr. Smith, but limit your testimony to the case at hand.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, the wolf came over to the little pig's house and said, little pig, let me come in." But the little pig said, "Oh no, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." And so the wolf got mad. And then he said, "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed and he puffed and blew that house right to the ground. Ate up that poor little pig.
Did I hear you correctly, Mr. Smith? Did you say he ate the pig up?
Yes, indeed, Your Honor. We're talking major porcicide.
Objection, Your Honor. We don't need this uncalled for character assassination from the witness.
Objection sustained. Mr. Smith, please keep your opinions to yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, did you also sell building materials to Curly Pig's other brother, Mo?
Sure did. He wanted to build with sticks, though. I tried to talk him out of it. I said, "You know, kiddo, you're going to have a lot of draft problems with a twig house. Not to mention wolf problems." But he was set on a twig cabin. So I sold him a load.
Mr. Smith, is this the type of sticks that you sold to Curly Pig's brother, Mo?
Yes, that's the same type.
Your Honor, I'd like to move these sticks into evidence as Pig's Exhibit B.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor. No objection.
Very well. The sticks shall be entered into evidence as Pig's Exhibit B.
Mr. Smith, could you tell the court the present state of that house?
Well, I guess you'd call his present state gone. Pretty much as soon as Mo had that house built, old BB, notice how he didn't want to mention that the middle B stands for bad, stopped by with his little pig, let me come in." But the little pig said, "Oh no, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." So then the wolf said, "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed and he puffed and blew that house right to the ground. Ate up poor Mo, same as he did Larry. At this point, everyone was beginning to get the picture that old BB didn't have any good intentions to any of those three little pigs. So I, for one, was glad when Curly came to me and asked to build his house out of brick. Nice little colonials, just what he had in mind.
Mr. Smith, is this the type of brick that you sold to Mr. Curly Pig?
Yes, it's the same type.
Your Honor, I'd like to submit this brick into evidence as Pig's Exhibit C.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor. I don't object to this evidence. However, I must really object to this entire line of questioning. It's all pure hearsay. This witness hasn't seen any of these things happen.
Ah, the wolf's attorney is bringing up a very good point. Hearsay means just that. You heard someone say something. You didn't actually see anything happen. Mr. Smith never saw the wolf harm anyone. Let's see how the judge rules.
Very well. The brick shall be entered into evidence as Pig's Exhibit C. However, I must sustain the objection to the line of questioning. Perhaps, Counselor, you could move to another line of questioning.
Actually, Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Cross-examine, Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to cross-examine this witness. Mr. Smith, you never actually saw Mr. B.B. Wolf eat Curly's brother, Mo and Larry, did you?
No. I didn't actually see it, but, I...
You only heard it from other people. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
No other questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, you may step down. Call your next witness.
I would like to call my client, Mr. Curly Pig, to the stand.
Raise your right hook. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. Pig, would you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Curly Q Pig.
Mr. Pig, what is your current address?
I live at 283 Sty Lane, just off Mud Avenue.
Mr. Pig, are you familiar with the plaintiff in this case, Mr. B.B. Wolf?
More familiar than I ever wanted to be.
Are you, as he testified, a good old pal of his?
Are you kidding? That wolf in sheep's clothing?
No, calm down. Sit down, calm down. Settle down.
Objection, Your Honor.
He's just trying to look innocent, but he's not. Let me tell you.
Gentle animals, please. If you don't stop this bickering now, I'll hold you both in contempt of court.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Judge Fair sounds angry. And what's all this contempt of court stuff about? Well, it's really about keeping order in the court. Everyone must show respect for the court and the judge. Otherwise, you'd have a lot of pretty angry people yelling at each other, and nothing would ever get accomplished. The judge is warning them to keep their arguments respectful. This helps the jury stay focused on the facts of the case. Being held in contempt of court means you can be fined or sent to jail. So it's not a good idea to get on the bad side of the judge.
Let's proceed with the questioning.
Going back a bit then, Mr. Pig, when did you come to know of Mr. Wolf?
Well, not under the friendliest of circumstances. I started knowing of him when he huffed and puffed and blew in the houses of my brothers, Larry and Mo. I mean, talk about excessive. No one ever told this guy that breaking and entering doesn't mean breaking the whole house and entering.
Mr. Pig, when did you come to know Mr. Wolf personally?
Well, after he had done in my brothers, I guess BB thought I'd be easy pickings. What he hadn't counted on is that I had built my house with bricks. So when he came over one morning with his sheep, little pig, let me come in trick, I said, no way, not by the hair on my chinny chin, and went right on watching TV. Anyways, all the while I was in the kitchen, I could hear him out there huffing and puffing. And when I went to bed that night, he was still huffing and puffing. But he wasn't going to get in. I made sure of that when I built my house out of bricks.
Mr. Pig, he did try to get in anyway, didn't he?
Well, he had this look in his eye, a nasty glint, and I could hear him start to climb up the side of the house. At first, I couldn't imagine what he was doing, and then it came to me. The chimney. So I rushed over to the fireplace. I already had a pot of water on the boil for my tea, and I took the lid off. I only wanted to warn him off. How was I supposed to know he was already coming down the chimney?
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination by the plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to cross-examine this witness. Mr. Pig, I've been listening to the account of your dealings with Mr. Wolf, and it seems to me that you did an awful lot of baiting and teasing of my client. Wouldn't you say that's true?
Well, maybe I was having a little fun with the old boy, but seeing as how he was trying to eat me, that doesn't seem like such a great crime, now does it?
I'll ask the questions here, if you please. Now, what about the report that your cookbook was open to a recipe for poached wolf? Is that true?
Yes, but it's not how it seems. I had it open to warm apple pie, but I guess when I took that lid off that cauldron, a shot of steam flipped it forward a few pages to wolf, poached.
But you just testified that you had the water on the boil for tea, not apple pie.
I always have hot tea with my apple pie.
Mr. Pig, is this the cookbook you had open to warm apple pie on the day Mr. Wolf came down your chimney?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I would like to admit this cookbook into evidence as Wolf's Exhibit A.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. The cookbook shall be entered into evidence as Wolf's Exhibit A.
Mr. Pig, if that cookbook was open to warm apple pie, as you say, why? Why is that a Wolf cookbook?
Well, I put my mother's recipe for warm apple pie in the Wolf cookbook on the page before Poached Wolf for safekeeping.
Really, Mr. Pig? Do you expect this jury to believe that?
Well, it's the truth by the hair on my chinny chin.
All right, Mr. Pig. no further questions of this witness.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Pig, I want you to listen to me very, very carefully. Did you ever intend to cook Mr. Wolf?
No!
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down, Mr. Pig. I will now hear closing arguments. Counsel for the plaintiff, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the facts have shown that Mr. Pig did lift the lid off of his cauldron just as my client was coming down the chimney to pay him a visit. The facts also have shown that his cookbook, a meat cookbook, a cookbook entitled 101 Ways to Cook Wolf, was open to his recipe for poached wolf, and not warm apple pie. I'm sure you good jurors will agree that Mr. Pig did intend to harm Mr. Wolf, that his actions did harm Mr. Wolf, and that he had medical bills and lost wages in the amount of $2,000. Please, ladies and gentlemen, compensate Mr. Wolf for his injuries. Thank you.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have shown that Mr. Wolf has had it in for the Pig family for a long, long time. Clearly, each time that Mr. Wolf came by Mr. Pig's home, he had no good intentions. Mr. Pig is a law-abiding citizen who was minding his own business when Mr. Wolf began harassing him. If Mr. Pig teased him, well, he was egged onto it. I'm sure you, the jury, will agree that the lifting off of the cauldron lid at the same time that the recipe book flipped over to the recipe for wolf poached, at the same time that Wolf was coming down the chimney, mere coincidences. Clearly, Mr. Pig meant no harm to Mr. Wolf. Thank you.
Thank you. You now have heard the evidence. Now, it is your job to decide by unanimous vote whether Curly Pig is liable to Mr. Wolf for personal injuries sustained by him. Remember to think about the facts of the case. Was Curly Pig trying to inflict bodily harm on Mr. Wolf? Did he intentionally lift the lid off the cauldron of boiling water as he was coming down the chimney? Or was he just making an apple pie as he testified? If you find that Curly Pig intentionally tried to harm Mr. Wolf, then you must also determine the amount of damages to be paid to Mr. Wolf.
Now it's time to deliberate. Remember, you can't make your decision based on the past history of BB Wolf or Curly Pig. You have to make your decision based on the facts presented in this courtroom. Listen carefully to what each of your fellow jurors has to say. It's okay to change your mind. Your first impression may not have been correct. In the end, make sure that your decision is fair and impartial. And good luck!
Thank you.